All right, welcome back. I am Maureen Bethea, and this is Christina Frank, and we're here answering questions that we hear commonly for adult daughters of emotionally immature, narcissistic mothers. One that comes up a lot that we'd like to talk about today is, why do I feel so lonely when I'm with my mother? And this comes up a lot just in terms of folks that have an ongoing relationship with their parent and they're trying to see how they feel or make it work. And they have these interactions and they spend time together. And yet
Mhm.
they feel pretty, sad or lonely when they're with them or after, there's might be a little bit of an emotional crash after. So I'm curious, Christina, when you hear that, what comes up for you, or what do you see out there?
Yeah, I love this question because it touches on the part of this dynamic that can be really hard to describe to other people, and it can be an isolating experience, I think, for adult daughters in general. Like if in trying to explain it, if you have not lived it or experienced it, it can be sort of hard to articulate. But it is this sort of like it's a lonely feeling. You're with your mom, you're talking about, seemingly important things, you're catching up on life or talking about things that interest you all, and yet you are feeling in the moment sort of lonely in the experience or having a hard time feeling connected. And what it touches on is, so the clinical term for it would be this misattunement in the moment is a moment of misattunement, where you're talking about something important with someone, but it feels like you're just missing each other. It's like they're not quite hearing you, they're not quite responding in a way that feels connected to you, to your experience. It makes it hard for you to then feel connected to what they're saying, but they may not even be noticing that. And then when that happens persistently, when that's like sort of the pattern in the relationship, it becomes chronic misattunement, right? And that's when you really start to feel lonely sort of pervasively in the relationship. It just feels like a lonely experience. So you're sort of like doing the things, you're playing the part. It's like cosplaying closeness, but it feels lonely, and you feel lonely when you leave. It feels unfulfilling when you leave that space. So.
Yeah. Yeah, what are the common, I think there's some kind of infamous ones where, an adult daughter trying to engage or say something or share in the response. Like, what are those common misattunement phrases sound like, or what does it look like kind of in real life?
Yeah, so examples of it would be a very quick pivot to their own experience. It can be jumping straight to fixing a problem or trying to solve the problem. Oftentimes, the implication being that the adult daughter is not doing it the right way, is not looking or solving the issue in the right way. It can look like talking about something else. It can look like just skating right past it, just moving on to a different topic. Um, it is just like a missing of the person. And so what you need in these relationships, like the alternative of that would be just to sit in the space of what the person is actually saying, even just for like a couple of sentences. It often doesn't take a lot, but just like, hey, I can see you're having a hard time with this, or you must feel really excited, or you worked really hard for that thing, or what's your favorite part? Or, what's the part that causes you the most stress? Or just any kind of question
Yeah.
that shows that the person is actually like listening to you versus kind of, when you're talking to someone and you can tell that they've already come up with their answer and they're kind of waiting for you to finish talking
Yeah.
before they get to say it. It's like that
Totally.
vibe.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Yes.
you had that
Yeah.
locked and
It's
loaded.
not really about you.
You moved
Yeah.
on in your head already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's totally true that, like, it's not really about me feeling, or, like, this is just a platform to launch the other person into their response, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
that emotional misattunement, like, someone's being serious, but it's taken as a joke, or your joking is taken seriously, or just that,
Yes.
like, the emotional tone is missed, and, like, you come in and you're in a bad mood or have had a bad day or struggling, and it's just like that, "Oh, hey, like, it just can't be seen, it's that emotional tone is missed too,
Yeah.
where it's just like, wow, I'm not seen, no one gets it. That sense of just
Yeah.
like we're together, but I'm alone in those moments.
Yeah, I love what you said too, and it touches on that mirroring component, right? Like in a in a
Mm,
in a parent-child relationship when the child is quite young, the concept of mirroring is really important for that child to develop a sense of like self and self-worth of like, oh, I'm important, like I
mm,
deserve space. The mirroring of that is such an important part of that. And in these dynamics, that doesn't happen. and often it can be flipped, and that's a whole other conversation we can talk about later. But yeah, that like attunement and presence to the emotion rather than to your point, like, oh, this is a joke, or we're laughing about this now, or,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, I think it can happen not just like with the words, but also with your affect, with a person's affect as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I notice, like, when folks, adult daughters leave that situation, there's sometimes that emotional heaviness of like, "Okay, I think that was fun, but I don't feel it." Like, there's this now internal misattunement between what that was supposed to be, a fun shopping trip or a nice lunch or a good coffee or a
mhm.
Christmas or what, but now, like, why don't I feel okay? Like, what about that? It was nothing maybe blatant or obvious. There's no big eruption sometimes, but that chronic misattunement can just be really wearing. It's just tiring. You get kind of shut down, disengaged, frustrated. And so oftentimes the symptom or the struggle I see is that kind of emotional shutdown afterwards, and the disconnect between, okay, we just had this holiday and yet, it's that and yet I don't feel the warmth from that. It's kind of falls flat in some way.
Yeah, and I think yeah, I like what you're saying in that too, because I think a component of this that is especially complicated is that oftentimes it presents as like on the surface, it looks so kind. So if someone else were to come into the
Mm,
space, oftentimes it looks like your mom made banana bread for you, or your mom, got you this kind present out of nowhere, or your mom sent you a link to go to a carnival, and like what's their do she's thinking of you, and that's so kind. And so
yeah,
the
yeah.
learned response is, oh, everyone sees how kind my mom is. But what if I hate banana bread? What if I have told her my entire life that I don't like banana bread and I don't like carnivals, right? And yet they keep showing up, and it's kind, and you want to be kind back because you're a kind person, but you're like, what? I mean, like, I told you I don't like banana bread. Like, can you hear me? Did you hear the
That's
words that
so
I
true. It's
said?
such a good point because it looks really nice, and other people might even say like, "Oh, your mom," it's so
Yep.
hard, and it's in that nuance and the repeated over time. I think it's that being missed over. It's not. We're not talking about one time someone missed your joke
No.
or didn't quite get the emotional tone. It's just this sense over time that's like, "Am I talking? Does she hear me
Yeah.
say that I don't like that?" Yeah. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, and I think it is that thing of like when someone has a very big emotional reaction to something that's seemingly very small, like my mom made me banana bread, it usually means it's touching on that exposed nerve. It's like a
Mm,
cavity. It touches on that nerve, and there's this big shock because what's happening is it's a deep well of my mom making me banana bread when I don't like banana bread. And it feels so hurtful and so isolating. And so then again, you get this like, oh, you're the dramatic one because you're having a very big
yes.
reaction to
Yeah.
banana. Like, what's the big deal? Just don't eat the banana bread if you don't like it. But it's the death of a thousand paper cuts, and it really becomes a barrier. And then this next layer to it, which again we can talk about it another time, but that next layer to it of like, there's no space to say anything. There's no space to say, hey, mom, I've told you that I don't like banana bread, and it actually kind of feels hurtful that you keep giving me banana bread. That's not a safe thing to do or to say. So it's the chronic misattunement coupled with the lack of an opportunity or ability to safely talk about the misattunement that really causes the deep and lasting damage. And I think one of the most powerful things that an adult daughter can do is to recognize that pattern so that you can start to think about the ways to, first of all, to expect it, right? Like it becomes
Mm,
less hurtful when you expect it. Here's the banana bread again.
yep.
Is very different than, why does my mom keep giving me banana bread?
Yeah.
And then two, you can figure out avenues that you can take to protect yourself emotionally. So yeah,
Yeah.
the
That's a good
loneliness
point. Yeah.
is real and it's valid, and there are things that you can do, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know if you have questions or comments. We'd be happy to hear from you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.